Welcome to Fox 8 Extra. I'm Stefani Schaefer. Well, she is a wife and mother, but also graduated from both Harvard and Yale. And in fact, in 2018, Crain's Cleveland named her one of its 40 under 40. I should also mention she's also a masters athlete in track and field, headed to the World Championships. Her resume, nothing short of amazing, and I'm so lucky to have her as my dear friend, and we are so lucky to have her in our beautiful city of Cleveland, who is making it so much better for all of us. Please welcome my friend Brittan Berry to the show. So good to have you here.
And it's so great to be here with you.
Well, I love you so much, and I'm so excited to sit down and let Cleveland all get to know this amazing human being here. You are pretty awesome. Okay, so I mentioned in the intro you graduated from Harvard and Yale, and you did track and field there. And then now you're a mom of 3 kids, and you just ran another race and for Team USA. Tell everyone about that.
Okay, so I think that sometimes people have a midlife crisis. I call this my midlife crisis, or maybe like my 1/3 life crisis. That means I get a few more, I guess. But you get to a point sometimes where you just need to do something for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so my kids are 7, newly 6, and newly 4. And I wanted to do something that was just maybe for me, but encouraged me to be healthier and whatnot. And it actually all came about because Cleveland hosted the Pan American Masters Games last summer in July.
Right.
You may have remembered that. It was all over Cleveland. And since there was a track meet down in Berea, I said, why not? Why don't I just try it? The rules of Masters is that you have to be over 35. And then once you're over like 50 or 55, you can be a senior.
Right.
But you have to be over 35. So I entered that race just to see how it would go. I did 6 weeks of training. It hurt so badly, and it was so much fun. And I met the best people from all over the world. And I had a moment where I was like, do I keep going? This was really fun. I got 2nd place in all of my individual events, and then I got 1st in our relay. And so most recently...
And your kids cheered you on. I mean, that had to have been a rush, knowing like, wow,
Yes.
I mean, you do everything for your kids, and your kids don't see mom as that person, because
That's
this was
true.
something that you had done in college way before you had kids. So now here they are, like with the signs and posters and jumping up and down in the stands watching you. That's got to be like very thrilling.
My kids think I'm an Olympian now.
I mean, and you are.
They basically think I'm an Olympian. So yeah, my kids were there. My husband was there. He had a big old fat head. Do you know what fat heads are?
With your
but
face.
it was this big. And the kids had little posters of me with a superhero body. So they called them super mommies. And it was so fun. It was so adorable, and it was so worthwhile.
So then, before we mention now what you're doing next, and then we'll mention the Worlds that happened just recently.
Yes, yes. So I just came back from the World Championships. This was literally 97 countries. There were people there from 35 to 104. And you race in age groups. So my age group is 35 to 39. And it was thrilling, exciting. It was hard. It was worthwhile again. It was in Florida, so it was the first time it was in the United States. So what had happened is when I was at the Pan American Masters Games in Cleveland, someone from Florida said, you got to keep going. For the first time ever, the United States is hosting the World Championships. So you have to go to Florida. You can go to Florida for the World Championships. So I went. I was selected to be on the relay also for Team USA. That's where I got this gold medal from.
Amazing.
And it was great. It was a whole week of competition, and I did the 100, the 200, no, it's indoors, 60 meter, 200 meter long jump, and the 4x 200 meter races. And I came in 6th in the world for the 60 meter and the 200 meter. I came in 4th for long jump, and then we got the meet record and the world title for our 4x 200 meter relay team.
Your team. That is amazing. Congratulations. That's so incredible. So in college, as I mentioned, you're a graduate of Harvard and Yale. Not an overachiever at all. But there at Harvard, you met the love of your life, who all of Cleveland knows, and that's what brought you to Cleveland.
Yes. In 2016, I would say, I was finishing graduate school at Yale. And my husband, Andrew, got a job with the Browns under Sashi Brown to do something in personnel at this point. They all get so mushed together. This
Sure.
was after almost a decade with the Colts. And so we came to Cleveland, and then there was a little break in the middle where I went to Atlanta for my job. He ended up going to Philadelphia with the Eagles for his job, but then in February of 2020, right before the whole world shut down, he got the general manager position for the Cleveland Browns. So Andrew Berry's my husband. I love him. He's great.
And
Fun
he's
guy.
a great and a great supporter of you, and especially now you doing all of this because you have been following him around and his career. And of course, you bring the kids to the Browns games and support him.
Yes,
So it's just
yes.
great to see him also taking time out. And he's got such an incredible position with the Browns and a lot of pressure, I would say, especially right now, that here supporting you, which is just equally just so darling. You guys are the cutest couple. You really
Definitely.
are.
Well, you see, I didn't grow up in a sports family. I'll admit, the Rose Parade, I did not realize was even linked to a college football game until I was an adult.
I mean, it's beautiful floats and stuff,
It's beautiful
right?
floats.
Yeah.
I'm a
Roses.
native Californian, so that was always like something we all wanted to see. I had no idea that it had anything to do with a football game. So we were never really following sports. So this is all so new to me.
Yeah.
And I will say, as somebody that's now entrenched in it so deeply, it's hard. It's just magical and special, and it also can be so heartbreaking all
Yeah.
at the same time because everything you take personal, you know, especially when you didn't grow up as a just fan of the game. It's just a very, very personal thing. So when the city is riding a high because we're doing well, it is special and it is magical. And when things are not going well, it truly is heartbreaking. And it's hard because it does dominate our lives. It dominates when we get where we live, you know, when we get to go be with our families or not. And it's, like I said, it's one of the most magical things in the world, but it's also just, it can be very heartbreaking on the other side.
And really difficult, honestly. Like, I'm fighting back tears because you had invited the kids and I, Sienna and Race, to watch the Pittsburgh game with you and your friends. And we won that. It was so amazing. In fact,
magical
Sienna and Race were behind us, and they took video the moment, which I didn't know that we won. And I'm
Yeah.
jumping up and down, and we're hugging each other, and that was like so thrilling. But then also, you understand too, and there were some fans of the Browns saying things, and I remember you were like, "This is just so heartbreaking. Like, this is our family that they're talking about," because it is so true. People and fans sometimes get carried away
Yes.
in the whole game of it all and their emotions, that they forget that Andrew is a human being and a father and a husband, and this is very real for you guys, and you
It's
love
very
Cleveland,
real.
and you know it's just I rode those emotions with you, even though we won that game, and that was just this thrilling high, and then that low of, you know what, just people say and they don't really mean things, but it happens, and it's unfortunately part of
Right.
the game.
It's a classic case of information asymmetry, to sound nerdy, but you know, people are passionate and you can't blame them for being passionate. You want them to be passionate, but also nobody knows everything that's going on, right? And so everybody has big opinions and lots of passion and feel like they know the better, like how to do it better on both sides,
For
on
sure.
coaching, on personnel, and we're all human. It happens to all of us, especially in passionate moments. But it doesn't make it any easier. But it also, like I said, it comes out beautifully when we're doing well.
I know.
So that's part about being a fanatic, right? About
Yeah.
being a fan. It's you ride the highs and you ride the lows.
Well, you do them graciously. Your whole family does. I mean, you guys really do. And Andrew's brother is involved in sports too. Like, there's no getting away from it, right?
Yes, yes. He used to be on Wall Street. He and his brother had both interned the summer, between our junior and senior years of college. They both interned on Wall Street. And they both got job offers, but his brother Adam chose to take the Wall Street offer. Andrew took this job as a scouting assistant for the Colts. He was like, I don't know, let's try it. I can always go back to Wall Street. Obviously has stayed in there. And then Adam recently just made the jump. He went to Wall Street. He did a great job there. But they grew up watching football. They
Yeah.
love football. Their dad is a huge Cowboys fan because he's from Texas. So, or was. He's no longer a huge Cowboys fan, everybody, because his son works for the Eagles.
Right.
And so
one son works for the Eagles.
yes, one son works for the Eagles, the other one works for the Browns.
The pictures of you guys, because when we played Philadelphia this year,
Mm-hmm.
and the boys look so much alike, your husband and his brother, and then to see all the kids and their parents, like that's got to be surreal.
I have to think that his parents, I mean, I know that their parents are just so proud of them. And it's so cool. And I think that they pinch themselves too. And they're like, is this real life?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, really incredible. I have to say, you've been such a wonderful friend to me, and I'm so grateful to you. And after my accident a couple years ago, when I ripped my hamstring off the bone working on my patio, I had not been outside for several weeks because I was in a wheelchair and it just wasn't unsafe other than going to doctor's appointments to get me out of the house. And you came to see me once and you're like, I'm getting you out of the house.
Yes.
And so she got me out of the house in my wheelchair. And what did you do with me?
I think that may have been the beginning of my training career.
I think it was.
Maybe that's when I started. Decided I was going to do this because I'm pretty sure
it was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago? Wow. I do recall running down the street, pushing you, and saying, "Wee!"
You did.
I was like, we're gonna go outside, get some fresh air, and have a great time.
We did not go for a stroll. I can say that you did. She ran around a neighborhood, my neighborhood, pushing me in my wheelchair.
That's right. I couldn't help it. I wanted you to know that you are loved and cared for, but I also wanted you to just feel a moment of like relief and having a good time in that moment.
But I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard in my life. So I am grateful to you for that moment and for just being such a dear friend. I just love you so much. We have much more to share with Brittan Berry, our world champion, right after the break. Stay close. Welcome back to Fox 8 Extra. Well, before becoming parents, we're taught to worry about everything. Screen time, sugar, hitting those major milestones. But studies show we might be sweating the small stuff. One recent survey, in fact, found 68% of parents say they think that the things that they used to stress about didn't actually really matter in the long run. They say once you're in it, you quickly realize sometimes screen time actually buys sanity. And no one really cares if their socks match or if your kids are wearing pajamas to dinner. So can you think of one thing that you totally panicked about before becoming a parent that really never actually mattered? I'm here with my friend Brittan Berry, who's a mom of 3, a world champion athlete too, the wife of Andrew Berry of the Browns. And we all worry about that stuff. You read the books when you're pregnant, and so you feel like that's where you need to be, and that's just the way it is, but your kids don't go by the books.
No, they sure do not. And having 3 kids really has shown that to me. I did not grow up with my siblings, so I did not realize that you could have 3 kids with the same 2 parents and they be so different. I have friends now, and one of my friends has twins, and she was worried about when they were starting to walk. And one thing that I realize is when you have twins, they get compared even more.
Oh, for sure.
But one of the things I also realized, especially when you talked about those milestones, is there's a wide range, right? You don't want, just because some kids start walking at 8 months, that range goes from 8 months to 18 months.
Yeah.
And it is fine. And those are the things that I stressed about with my first kid. I would say another thing that I stressed about was that when we were making these transitions, we moved a lot in the very beginning of at least my first 2 kids' lives. And I would always worry about these transitions. And I was worried about these transitions for toddlers and babies, right?
Right.
So we moved back to Cleveland in 2020. And the daycares were not bringing any new children in because we were in the height of the COVID pandemic. And I'm worried that if we didn't find the same type of daycare that was doing the same thing as we were doing in Atlanta, that transition was going to be so hard for my children. Well, my children were like a year and 18 months, right? 12 and 18 months old, and they are so much more resilient.
Yep, true.
Right?
Isn't that true?
I was the one struggling with the transition. It wasn't my children. They were not struggling with that transition. Now, honestly, when they get older, I still have no idea what it's like to have teenagers, right? Because my oldest kid is 7.5. But I think that those transitions when they're babies, I was so worried about like the napping. Are they napping on time?
Yeah.
Are we transitioning from the bottles at the right time? Are we transitioning from 3 to 2 to 1 to 0 naps? They will help guide you, right? Those
so
transitions
true.
are something that I stressed out about a lot. By my third kid, go on.
Yeah.
You just tell me what you need and we'll just keep going.
And isn't it true? I remember even saying, like, when my kids were like, we'll never eat fast food. I never want them to have that. Then you get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, that totally goes out the window because you have to do what's best for you at that moment.
And
sometimes
happy
it is.
meals are magical.
Happy meals, they are
right?
magical.
It's okay when that happens. Would you do it every day? If possible, no. Right? If possible, no. But Happy Meals are a great treat for my kids when we are rushing from one spot to another.
Nothing like those chicken nuggets. I mean,
Right.
100%.
They love it. Yes.
Here's another story. We've all heard about the recipes for success, but did you know that there's also a recipe for the perfect day? I mean, these are according to researchers, but of course researchers analyzed how people spent their time in a day and whether they considered it a good day in the end. Doing so, they came up with this formula. They call it a magic formula. Spend 6 hours with family, 2 hours with friends, 2 hours exercising, an hour of eating and drinking, and less than 6 hours of work. So here's the key part, 1 hour or less of screen time. I think, I mean, that sounds perfect, but that is hard to do.
Can someone do the math on that?
I was
feel
gonna
like
say-
I don't quite understand how.
Where did you find this story,
Right,
Carrie?
how
It's not the whole 24 hours.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just showing like how much time you need to spend with family in order to feel happy or
Oh.
feel satisfied. or
Because
whatever.
I feel
6
like
hours?
your
Like,
days
that's
were
way less than
longer
24.
than my day. Right. Well, there's no sleeping. I didn't. Did they say anything?
No.
Where's
No.
my nap?
I mean,
There's no nap.
Well, I would
And
like to take a
I mean,
nap.
who can only work 6 hours a day? You know, like
Right.
that's not.
Yeah, or less than
Really.
6 hours a day, it said,
But
of
I
working,
do
which is
think
fab.
the screen time is.
Maybe that
interesting.
was the part we were supposed to hang on to.
Yeah,
the
it
screen
did say,
time part.
Carrie did say the key part is 1 hour or less of screen time. So I think screen time can get away from us. So, and that probably does a lot because we do a lot of stories about how screen time, especially in young kids and in adults, can cause anxiety and depression and more stress. So limit the screen time. And 6 hours of family time. That's good. And then you work in the Friends for 2 hours on that same day?
It's a lot.
That would
It's
exhaust
full
you.
time. Yeah.
I know, that sounds like a really great day. It just feels like since we didn't talk about the sleeping, resting, eating aspect of it, I don't
Sleeping is
know.
big to you.
I don't know. I mean, it's big because I desire it, not because I get it. I know that I'm at a spot in my life where I need to get more sleep, but I think that sounds wonderful, right? Obviously, there's like days, I will tell you, 6 straight hours with my kids. Sometimes I need a break from that, and sometimes you want to pour yourself if you love your job,
Right.
And you get that flow. You can pour yourself into that. So there's some generalities there that we're talking through, but overall, it sounds nice. I like to be outside a lot, so the idea of being able, like, actually, I figured it out, guys. I figured it out.
Okay. All right.
We are feeding 2 birds with 1 seed because I don't kill birds with stones. I feed them with seeds.
I like that. I like that. That is so good. So you feed 2 birds with 1 seed. I love that.
I don't want to kill
'Cause
birds with
why do we
stones.
say that? Why
Yeah.
do we say that?
Yeah, you shouldn't be killing birds.
No, don't kill birds. Don't kill birds. But feeding 2 birds with 1 seed. You know what we're doing? We are taking our friends and our kids on a hike outside without our screens. That's
Together.
exercise.
Yep.
That's exercise, friend time, family time, building community. I don't know what to do about the work part. I don't know how to mold the work part in there, but the fresh air, the exercising, being able to bring 2 communities that you love together to create some memories, that's how we're doing all
she
that.
She
solved
just
it.
solved the world's problem.
I'm solving the world's problem.
She really did.
Birds,
You're pretty
seeds.
amazing. Also, I have to tell people, because I have to share this because you're just so adorable. She had invited my family to the Easter egg hunt that she did a couple years ago. And your Easter egg hunt, the frequently asked questions,
Oh, yeah.
was where my kids were like, Brittan is the fun. You are so funny. You are so funny. And it was for trick or treat too. Like how sweet you've invited my family to be with your kids, because it's just so fun. I miss not having little kids.
And your kids are awesome.
And my kids love
They're
being
down
with
for
your
anything,
kids,
even though my kids are very young.
No, your kids are so cute. But your attention to detail and stuff is just, you're amazing. You really are. And I marvel at how, because at that time too, you were working full-time job, full-time mom, traveling with Andrew and trying to get everything figured out. You handle everything, like with the house and everything. I mean, you're
I'm the
like
general manager of the household.
Superwoman, you really are. And then to send that, it was just so cute and charming, and then to invite and include us was just like super special. But
yeah, well, it was a lot of fun. I will say one of the things that I do love about the jobs that I've held, I think a lot about organizational strategy. I think a lot about communications. I've done a lot of work in communications and knowing your audience, but also trying to get ahead of what they might be asking. That means maybe writing an FAQ sheet for an Easter egg hunt, right? Because sometimes your neighbors have never done this. Our neighbors, my neighbors were not ready for necessarily someone to move in and just start planting Easter eggs, in their yards.
So cute.
But it happened. And so this is one of those things that I just really love learning some of those intricacies in my job, and then I just apply it to everything. I was actually just telling Carrie that I have a spreadsheet trying to figure out summer camps for my children. There's a lot of project management that goes into my life. So sometimes
I was telling her too. I email our guests ahead of time to discuss what we're going to talk about. She sent me back
like 6 pages.
All
but easy
organized,
to read, right?
Yes,
into categories.
The way they were categorized, yes.
Mm-hmm. It was a producer's dream. It really was.
You are.
It wasn't just long, it was easy to read.
It
right?
was
organized,
it was
detailed.
Easy to read, detail oriented.
You are just adorable. Well, she played this amazing prank on her husband, Andrew, and we're going to show that to you because I love to show videos that make people laugh and happy. So don't go away. More of Fox 8 Extra with Brittan Berry right after the break. Stay close. Welcome back. And as we were in that little break, her husband called her. Does he not know you're on TV right now?
He doesn't. I ignored it.
Tell him you have a very important job.
I told him this.
Andrew
I said,
Berry
we have
can
an
wait.
important job. Yes.
All right, so at the end of the show, we like to just talk about something that makes you happy or end with something fun, a video. This will make you smile. So talk about this clip that we're going to show everyone.
I love pranking my husband. I am his #1 troll. And so I had an April Fool's Day many years ago where I changed his autocorrect on his phone so that every time he wrote thanks, it said, "I like pickles on toast." And he was
how do you do that?
Oh, it's a secret. It's a secret. I had to learn it because I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android. #Team Android. I have an Android because I used to work for Google. So big Android fan, but I learned it and I did it. And it was very frustrating because I think at that point he was maybe trying to text his boss and he just kept trying to say thanks. It said, "I love pickles on toast." So I said, how do I up that one, right? How do I up that one? And then I realized that there are these things on people's cars, not on ours, but on other people's cars called Puddle Lights. Puddle Lights, you open your door and sometimes it has the emblem maybe of the car manufacturer brand or whatnot that you have and it shows on the ground. Well, this one, you can see, you can get your own custom puddle lights.
All right, we're going to roll the clip.
I'm a little late to April Fool's this year, but Etsy said that my order came. So let's see. Ready for it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Yes, I can wait till he shows up at work like this. Oh my gosh.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I do not want this on my car.
Keep that on your car.
When we get out, I will show you.
Best April Fools
how
ever.
ridiculous mom is.
schools this year.
Gosh,
but Etsy said
that is just great. That is great. Good job. I don't know how you think of this stuff. You are brilliant and funny. And
I super glued it.
so wait, is it still on his car?
Yes.
Oh my! And it's
Yes.
been like 2 years now, right? Wasn't that about 2 years ago?
I
or
think
3?
it was maybe a year ago.
Oh, okay.
However, oh yeah, it was a year ago because April
Yeah.
just happened. No, he told me it was going to depreciate the value of our car. I said it would appreciate the value. And also, at some point, our son's going to start learning to drive, and he'll take that car to school, and he will know that mom is watching.
Oh, good point. I love
Yes.
that.
There's a lot of longevity in this plan, and this was probably my best yet. And every time he opens the door, he goes like this, ugh, and I love it so much. He said, you may have heard in the video, he said, take this off of my car. I don't want this here. And I said, you better not take that off the car. I super glued it. We're keeping that car for life.
Yeah, you are. Oh my, thank you for being here with us. You're a remarkable woman. You really,
Thank you.
truly are. And I'm so glad proud of you. I'm so happy that you're able to share all of this with our wonderful viewers out there. And you are a champion.
Thank you.
And I love the tracksuit too.
Thank
Team
you.
USA.
Team
Oh, look at that. Yep, turn around. See, Team
USA.
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 I mean, you represent us so well, so perfectly. Your story is amazing. I wish we had hours to talk because
We could talk for hours.
So we'll do another one. 'Cause
Okay.
you are incredible.
Look
You
out
were
for
really
part 2,
amazing.
everybody.
All right, we're going to do it. Thank you so much for being with us for Fox 8 Extra. And we will see you next week. Have a wonderful one. So long.